Imagine a world where the East and the West were two separate universes, shrouded in mystery and myth. Then, one man embarked on an epic journey that would change the course of history, bridging these two worlds like never before. This is the story of Marco Polo, the Venetian merchant whose incredible adventures would captivate Europe for centuries and reshape our understanding of the planet. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into the life of one of history's most legendary travelers. Was he a brilliant explorer, a gifted storyteller, or just a very lucky merchant? Let's find out. Our story begins in 1254 in the Republic of Venice, a bustling hub of trade and maritime power. This is the world Marco Polo was born into. But his journey really starts with his father, Niccolo, and his uncle, Marco Polo. These two were seasoned merchants who had already traveled deep into Asia, even reaching the court of the great Kublai Khan, the grandson of Genghis Khan and the ruler of the vast Mongol Empire. When they returned to Venice after many years, they brought back a message from the Khan himself. He was curious about Christianity and European life and requested that the Pope send 100 wise men to his court to share their knowledge. It was a monumental request, a direct invitation from the most powerful ruler in the East. So, in 1271, Niccolo and Maffeo set out once again for the East, but this time they weren't alone. They brought with them a 17-year-old Marco Polo. Can you imagine being a teenager and embarking on a journey into the completely unknown? No maps, no GPS, just the promise of adventure and the vast, mysterious lands ahead. This wasn't a quick trip. Their journey would take over 3 grueling years. They traveled along the legendary Silk Road, a network of trade routes that snaked across mountains, deserts, and vast plains. Marco saw things that no European had ever described before. He crossed the treacherous mountains of Persia, navigated the desolate Gobi Desert, and witnessed cultures and customs that were worlds away from his native Venice. He was a keen observer, taking in every detail of the people, the wildlife, and the landscapes he encountered. Finally, after a journey that would break most people, they arrived at the summer palace of Kublai Khan in a place called Xanadu. The Khan was immediately impressed by the young Marco. He was intelligent, observant, and had a knack for languages. Instead of just seeing him as a foreign merchant, the Khan saw potential. For the next 17 years, Marco Polo didn't just stay at the court. He became a trusted envoy for Kublai Khan. The Khan sent him on missions all over his sprawling empire, from the southern provinces of China to the lands of present-day Vietnam and Myanmar. This gave Marco an unprecedented first-hand look at the administration, economy, and daily life of the Mongol Empire. He saw technologies far beyond what Europe had at the time. He described the use of paper money, a concept completely alien to Europeans who relied on gold and silver coins. He wrote about the burning of black stones, which we now know as coal, for fuel. He marveled at the empire's efficient communication system, a network of horse-mounted messengers that could relay information across vast distances with incredible speed. He also described the grand cities he visited. He spoke of Kenzei, modern-day Hangzhou, as the city of heaven, a magnificent metropolis with 12,000 stone bridges and a thriving commercial life that dwarfed even Venice. He detailed the production of silk, the intricate processes of porcelain making, and the rich spices that were so coveted back in Europe. He wasn't just a tourist. He was an ethnographer, an economist, and a geographer, all rolled into one. After 17 long years in the service of the Khan, the palace began to feel a deep longing for home. But Kublai Khan had grown fond of them and was reluctant to let them go. Their chance finally came when a Mongol princess needed to be escorted by sea to Persia to be married. The Polos, being experienced travelers, were tasked with the mission. This final leg of their journey was just as perilous as the first. They set sail from southern China with a fleet of ships, navigating the South China Sea, crossing the Indian Ocean, and eventually landing in Persia. It was a 2-year voyage filled with storms and disease, and many of the crew did not survive. But the Paulos did. After delivering the princess, they finally made their way overland back to Venice, arriving in 1295, a full 24 years after they had left. When they arrived, they were almost unrecognizable. They were dressed in worn-out tattered clothes and spoke Venetian with a foreign accent. Legend has it that their own family didn't even recognize them until they cut open the seams of their clothing, revealing a fortune in hidden jewels. But the story doesn't end there. A few years after his return, Venice went to war with its rival, Genoa. Marco Polo, commanding a galley, was captured and thrown into a Genoese prison. It was here, in this dark, boring cell, that fate intervened once more. He shared his cell with a writer of romances named Rustichello de Pisa. To pass the time, Marco dictated the stories of his incredible travels to Rustichello. He recounted everything he had seen: the majesty of Kublai Khan's court, the bustling cities, the strange customs, and the vast, uncharted territories. Rustichello, a skilled writer, helped shape these tales into a book. The result was the Travels of Marco Polo, or as it was originally known, a description of the world. When the book was released, it was an absolute sensation, but it was also met with a great deal of skepticism. The stories were so fantastical, so far beyond the experience of medieval Europeans, that many people simply didn't believe them. They nicknamed Marco Polo Il Milione, meaning the million, because they thought he was telling a million lies. Talking crocodiles? Paper money? A city bigger than Venice? It all sounded like pure fantasy. For centuries, historians debated the authenticity of his accounts. Some critics pointed out that he never mentioned certain key features of Chinese culture, like the Great Wall, foot binding, or tea drinking. They suggested that maybe he never even went to China, but instead just collected stories from other merchants in Persia. However, modern scholarship has largely vindicated Marco Polo. Archaeologists and historians have found evidence that corroborates many of his descriptions. His accounts of the Mongol court, the use of paper money, and the layout of cities have been shown to be remarkably accurate. As for the omissions, there are plausible explanations. The Great Wall, as we know it today, was largely a Ming dynasty construction, built after Marco's time. Foot binding was not yet widespread, and tea, while popular in the South, might not have been a noteworthy custom to a foreigner focused on grander things. Regardless of the debates, the impact of his book is undeniable. The Travels of Marco Polo opened up a new world for Europeans. It painted a picture of the East not as a land of monsters and myths, but as a sophisticated and wealthy civilization. It fired the imaginations of future explorers. It's said that Christopher Columbus himself owned a heavily annotated copy of the book, inspired by Marco's descriptions of the riches of the East as he planned his own voyage westward. Marco Polo effectively put Asia on the map for Europe. He was the bridge between two continents, providing the most comprehensive look at the East that the West had ever seen. His journey wasn't just a physical one across thousands of miles. It was a journey that connected cultures, economies, and ideas. He lived out the rest of his life as a wealthy merchant in Venice and died in 1324. On his deathbed, he was supposedly urged to retract the fabulous stories he had told. His famous reply was, "I have not told half of what I saw." So, was he a liar or a legend? The evidence points strongly toward legend. Marco Polo was a man of his time, but also far ahead of it. His curiosity, courage, and keen eye for detail allowed him to document a world that was beyond comprehension for his contemporaries. He didn't just travel the Silk Road. He brought it to life for the entire Western world. And in doing so, he changed our world forever. What do you think is the most incredible part of Marco Polo's story? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey through history, make sure to like this video, and subscribe for more adventures. We'll see you in the next one.